Hello there guys, my name is Mr. Mike's168 and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. In today's video we will be talking about how to make public events heroic. Now as you can see in the video here, the first one that we are doing is Glimmer Extraction. The Glimmer Extraction one, all you have to do for this one is there is a little projector, which you can see where my rocket launcher has just gone there. You need to destroy those before you destroy the captains on every extraction point. Once you have done that, at the final part, it will then finally activate the heroic event. Now, sometimes it's quite easy to miss, and some people do destroy them too quickly. But if you do destroy the captain before you destroy these, it will not give you the heroic event. And at the end, all you've got to do is stand in the middle and gather all the glimmer that is there. I don't know necessarily whether or not you have to kill the captain, but I did find that it still gave you heroic gear and whatever once you had finished gathering all the glimmer. Now moving on to the second one, which is the weapon exchange, I believe. I'm just watching this video here. Yeah, it's the weapon exchange. Now basically this one can be soloed on your own. The idea is basically, at the beginning, you've got to destroy the captain. Kill the captain as quick as you possibly can, and it will give you more time, especially if you're doing this on your own, to knock down both walkers. Now, once the walker has spawned, what you want to be doing, especially as I said, if you're doing it on your own, is try and knock down the damage as quickly as possible and gather the orbs as quick as possible. Mainly, probably aiming to try and get one shield down at a time rather than spreading it out between the three. As you can see here, just, well, basically trying to knock down his legs as quick as possible. And as like I said, once you tend to do that and get at least one of the shields down, I tend to go back and focus on taking down his leg once again. And once I've done that, it will be pretty straightforward from there to just grab a Scorch Cannon, as you will soon see in just a second when the leg finally goes down. I don't remember it actually taking that long. There we go. So straight off the bat, run up and grab that. So basically I would probably head to the one that's closest to you. It just, to me, especially doing it here, this was the first time me ever doing it in this area. I've been so used to doing it on Titan in Siren's Watch that it was a bit weird doing it in this place. I was so used to doing the ether supply one here most of the time. So when this one actually did spawn, it did throw me off a little bit. But as you can see here, as I said, I downed him again and got down the second one. Now by this point, after I've got the second shield down, I tend to grab a Scorched Cannon, especially as I said, if you're on your own, and just damage the living crap out of him until he goes down again. And once he goes down again, you've already got orbs spawned around him, so it's not the end of the world if you're not able to pick up the ones that he first adjacently drops as soon as you knock him down, because they will still stay there anyway. So as you see here, just run up, pick these up, and then drop them in the slots. Once this final shield has been deactivated, it will then activate the heroic event. Now, as I said, this one can be done pretty much, I would say safely to say, out of all the 8 public events there are, this one is probably the easiest to solo out of the lot. But as you can see here, well, by this time I've already destroyed the first walker and moving on to the second one. Now I say I soloed this one actually. There is a guy which you've just seen flash on the bottom left of my screen there. He was, if you saw earlier on in this video, just then in this clip, that there was a giant servitor. I believe he was doing the side quest for the Meter multi-tool. So as you see here, I'll just keep raining fire on this walker. Once that has finally, well, as you'll see in a minute, once he goes down, you'll see that his sparrow comes up from the right in just a second, and he joins in literally at the last minute just to grab any kind of heroic goodies that are there to drop. But as like I said, guys, this one, I tend to find myself rotating all the time. That's especially as I said, if I'm on my own, you tend to find yourself rotating just to keep yourself out of the way of the ads. If you're doing it with 2 or 3 of you, this can be done very, very quickly. As you can see there, I got my ass handed to me as it woke up, thinking I'd actually killed it when I hadn't. But I think I do manage to run back, just pick up a Scorch Cannon and drop it, and that is it done from there. But yeah, aim of the game with this one, especially said if you're doing it on your own, is just to keep yourself moving at all times, because the ads will do you some significant damage. But also, the second walker, as much as you try to focus on the first one to begin with, you do tend to forget it's there. Moving on now to the third heroic event, which I've never seen this one ever drop here before, is the ether supply one. Now this one, unfortunately, I did end up doing on my own. I did not get to complete it. I did end up running out of time. I did get a little bit too cocky towards the end. with trying to do as much damage as I possibly could to it, and he basically kicks my ass out of it. But basically what you want to be doing in this one is damaging the main servitor for the beginning. Now, once you do enough significant damage to him, he will gain an immunity shield around him. When he gains that immunity shield, which you can see there, he will trail off a beam to a smaller servitor. What you want to do is destroy this first servitor there, and straight off the bat. Then, after a little while, do some more significant damage to him, and then he will spawn 3 more. You need to ensure that you destroy these 3 as soon as possible, because he will take a feed on them and they will be destroyed. If they are destroyed and you do not destroy them, you cannot activate the heroic event. As you saw there, I did activate the heroic event, and this is where, as I said, I got a little bit too cocky and I tried to knock him down. Time was not on my side, unfortunately. I didn't realise that there was a Kabbalah interceptor there. If I did, I probably, if I had a little bit more time, would have probably killed that guy and grabbed it, because it would have probably done me justice. But as you can see here, he isn't far down from being dead, but unfortunately, I think I grabbed the heavy ammo a little too late. I think if I grab it at all, yeah, I do. But unfortunately, time wasn't against me, and eventually he disappears. So it was still completed, but I don't think you get the main rewards for it. Now, moving on to number 4, we are going to be doing the Taken Blight one. Now, this one to me was one of the hardest ones to do, only for the simple reason that I couldn't quite understand how it all started. I thought you had to take out the smaller blights, and then eventually it would spawn like a boss at the end from the middle blight. But I got it completely wrong. By chance, that a friend told me how this one was done, and I felt a little bit stupid afterwards for doing it. But basically, the simple thing is that there will be the great big blight in the middle, and smaller blights will spawn around it with adds. What you want to do is jump straight into the smaller blight, and it will give you a 4-second buff. With that 4-second buff, you are able to do damage to the bigger blight. And the aim of the game is to do as much damage as you possibly can in the shorter spaces until the thing explodes. Now, as you see, I did skip through here to the end. There was a big group of us at the beginning, but unfortunately at the beginning there was only 2 of us, but the guy I was doing it with was destroying the blights before I could do any significant damage, which was a bit annoying. But it is, unfortunately, if you don't know how to do it, you're probably just going to go with the way that you think knows best. So, as you can see here, there was about 5 or 6 of us, I think, at the end of it doing this. And in the end, you'll see here that it starts to change colour. I think I turned my back to go and get another 4-second buff. I think I turn around. As you see there, it starts to go a different colour, and then it explodes, and it will spawn something called a Blight Maker. Once you destroy the Blight Maker, that is the end of that heroic. As I said, once you know how to do that one, it is quite simple, but I wouldn't safely say that you could do that on your own. I think there's too many adds, and you jumping in and out with not really focusing on the adds will end up getting you killed, and it would just be more of a headache. So doing that with 2 or 3 people is probably going to be the better option. Moving on to number 5 now, we move on to the Kabbalah Extraction. Now this one, I would say, again, you probably need about 2 or 3 people to do so. You probably could do it on your own, but I think, unfortunately, the timer would probably run out depending on how lucky you was with ads not spawning and blowing the crap out of you. But the aim of this one is to get to get that little timer there in the middle, as you can see, up to 100%. But also there is a ship which you can see has just spawned onto the map there. The aim of the game for this one is to destroy that ship. Now, unfortunately, you saw that I missed with the second rocket, but fear not, it does come round for a second time. So what you want to do is, when it comes back round, is ensure that you destroy that ship. Once you destroy that ship, it will automatically set it up to be a heroic public event. Now, this was one that, as many times as I tried, that if you're doing it on your own, depending on how much damage you were doing and depending on your power weapon, I find that a grenade launcher, especially the one I use on my other character, which is the Prospector, which is the exotic full auto grenade launcher, it does wonders when it comes to destroying this ship. Now, as you can see here, it does spawn in quite late. Now, as people do catch it at a good time, you can do some significant damage to it before it stops. When it stops, it only stops around for about 1 to 2 seconds, so it's pretty annoying, really. But you managed to get 1 rocket off there, and so by the time I managed to get my second or my main weapon out, someone had already caught wind of what I was doing and destroyed it for me. So that was pretty much a good bonus. So as you see there, it has joined the heroic event, from doing that. Then the aim of the game after that is to ensure that the timer is at 100% with your capture rate, and then to defeat the excavation. I think it's excavation Valus, I believe is the name of that. But once he is destroyed, that will be the end of that public event. Like I said, guys, it is pretty straightforward, but as I said, you probably will need 2 or 3 people just to do it, especially as, like I said, if one of you doesn't catch the eye of the ship or that you don't do enough damage to it, you only get two chances at it before it will disappear, and it will just keep it as a basic event. Moving on now to number 6, which is the injection rig. This one I find is probably got the one with the most components with it, and it is a bit more of a pain in the ass. What you want to be doing straight off the bat is destroying the 3 scions that spawn in so much to say is waves. Once you destroy the first scion, it will create a shield that you can see right there, and the thing will start to overheat. It will open up its extraction fans there, and what you want to do is do as much damage as you possibly can to it and destroy it as much as you can. Now, this is again something that you probably want to do with 2 or 3 of you. One, to just keep an eye on the ads, because as you saw there, although I was getting eaten alive, I did get burnt alive as well. That is the second one there, as you see, has just been destroyed. The smaller fans will then start to open. Again, there was me and one other random guardian. He knew what he was doing as well, so we were able to destroy that extractor fan. And then moving on to the third and final one. Now, this one is a bit of a tricky one because there are 3 locations. Where I am stood now, there's one either side. I thought it was going to be that one, and it turned out to be the one on the other side. Luckily, if you've got enough time, it doesn't take a great deal of damage. I think they take less and less damage as it goes. But once you've destroyed all 3 of those fans, the boss will spawn, and it will be a heroic public event from there. And then, by then, it's basically just blast the crap out of him, and once he is destroyed, that is the end of that public event. You see here me with trouble with the dogs once again, but by this point I come back to go and shoot the boss, and he was almost dead. There was about 4 or 5 other guardians that jumped in I didn't even realise were there, so that one went pretty quickly. Now moving on to the next one, which is the Vex Construct. Now this one, again, you're probably going to need 2 or 3 of you. I'd probably recommend 3 just to be on the safe side. What you want to do is there's 3 pads in which you need to capture to 100%. If you've got 3 of you, I'd probably advise 1 stays in the middle to stop them from combining themselves with the middle complex. After that, the other 2 will just get on with doing the pressure pads. Once they are all complete, it will then spawn the heroic public event. Now, after that, all you need to do is basically survive. You need to ensure that they don't combine with the middle conduit. And after the time limit is over, that will be the end of it. You don't necessarily need to kill the Hydras or the Cyclopses, but it's probably more beneficial that you do so that you don't get sideswiped by it. But that one is pretty easy, but as I said, 2 or 3 of you as a max would probably make it a lot easier. Now, moving on to the last one. Now, unfortunately with this one, I didn't have any footage of it. I waited and waited for it to activate, and unfortunately I was sat there for hours and it didn't come up. It just kept doing the weapon exchanges. So this one is called the Wizard's Ritual. Now this one, there are 2 pads, which one I'm stood on and one that is on the other side, as you can see there that I'm pointing at. There will be 2 wizards either side. You need to stand on these pads. If you stand on these pads, it will give you a buff which will deactivate the shields of the wizards. Once you have destroyed those 2 wizards, as you will see in just a second once I point my gun up there, there will be 2 little altars. There we go, where I'm pointing my gun right now. There'll be 2 little altars on the top there. You have to stay on the on these pads. You stay on these pads, it will give you the buff which will deactivate the little shield that's around the little altar. Destroy those altars, and through the middle, after that, it will activate the heroic event. Once that is activated, there will be, I believe its name is an Abyssal Champion, or it'll be a Great Big Knight. It's basically just a Great Big Knight. And it will take a shit ton of damage, so be prepared for an onslaught. But once he is destroyed, that will be the end of that heroic event. I would again suggest probably 2 or 3, just one of them to deal with the ads, because they will throw thrall at you like you wouldn't believe. But that is it, guys. That is a little quick tutorial on how to do the public events. I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope you find this video informative. By all means, please feel free to like the video and comment down in the section below of any other videos that you would like to see me do in the future. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel for any more latest videos. Once again, guys, thank you very much for watching the video, and I hope to see you guys very soon.